I'm just at a loss for words. I really don't know what to say anymore because everybody's already said it a million times over. But, you know, I'm struggling. This has been the worst time of my life. And thank God that I have all these supporters here for me and everybody in my corner to help me get through this, because otherwise they took what helped me get through that, which was sunshine. This is all I have left of sunshine right here is her ashes.
You cannot trust the police to investigate themselves whenever one of the internal investigators is the father of an officer involved.
You know, one of the things you all do is pray before the meetings, and I like it. It's traditional. It makes me feel good and grounded. And it reminds me of one of my favorite Bible verses, which is Matthew 25:40. The king will reply, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did for the least of my brothers and sisters, you did for me."
But but he's wearing a badge and carrying a gun, so he should be held to a higher standard than anybody else. So what kind of country do we have when we pray and we take pictures of how proud we are as a city, but yet we trample on the rights of a man that went overseas and served his country?
I'm not a snitch. I've had 3 GPD officers reach out to me and saw that they are not happy with what was seen on that video. Nobody is.
You can see that at every single step, the people in positions of authority lied, abused their power, and hurt people and animals. Now, I know you're...
So I'm one of the outsiders that keeps getting talked about. Is coming here to Gaston County to support Mr. Rohrer. I can't but think about a story from a couple years ago where my children had made a huge mess in the living room. Rather than punishing one of them, because we didn't know who did it, we sent them all to their room and we said, "Come back whenever you can tell us who did it." They talked amongst themselves. They came back and said, "I don't know who did it. I didn't do it. Who done it? I don't know." Well, I don't know does a lot of things. I don't know does a lot of things in our family and in society. And whenever I don't know does it, it's time to find out somebody that can find out. You don't investigate yourself. That's like sending my children up to their room. We're not going to get something that we have any sort of confidence in. And saying that the district attorney inquired as to whether or not an investigation should happen is a lot different than saying, "Please, State Board of Investigation, investigate this issue." And until that has happened, until you guys can tell us that the State Bureau has looked into anything, that the State Bureau has cleared all wrongdoing, there's not going to be peace here. Because we don't want the answer that the local police is giving. Because you can't trust that. You cannot trust the police to investigate themselves whenever one of the internal investigators is the father of an officer involved. There is a reasonable expectation that nepotism is at play. The only way to get that view out of the public's mind is to have a fair, impartial, unbiased, external review of the facts and let the cards lay where they may lay.
I actually wanted to speak to you all today about language and the meaning of underlying words. We see in our country right now so many words get their meanings changed. We see disinformation, vaccine, inflation, raid, recession. Then people call it news. As the Southerners say, bless their hearts. It seemed that Gastonia was a bit jealous of these politicians and came up with their own words like fair, crime, mercy, obstructed, and accountability. Starting with fair in December. If you don't remember, of course, Joshua had petitioned, WCNC had petitioned the courts for release of the body cam footage. But Travis Page, who we will come back to, said Joshua couldn't have a fair trial. The events were in dispute. The police had one version, Joshua had another. Witnesses seemed to agree with Joshua. Imagine if there was video evidence that would have corroborated one of the stories. But we were told we can't see that video evidence because it would prevent a fair trial. I guess I don't know what fair means. We fought for 7 months, and the body cam footage was finally made available. Even then, the word 13 seemed confusing because we got October 13th and October 9th, but not all of October 13th. Nevertheless, I'll tell you, when we came to the last meeting in August, we felt something dangerously close to optimism. I mean, we saw the video footage. Sunshine didn't bite anybody. Joshua got arrested for, and let me make sure, yes, providing his VAID. And I checked this, it's not a crime in Gastonia, not yet at least. Maybe we were naive, as we heard Travis Page, who you might remember from a few minutes ago, statement get read out. He shut the door on it. He made it clear that DA Page was happy to play judge and jury, clearing the officers of any wrongdoing based on his opinion, and the refusal of the State Bureau's determination not to further investigate. He also convicted Joshua of the only crimes he saw committed on the video, which I remind you, again, he fought valiantly to keep from the public. He supports his position referencing a grand jury, which is apparently a new standard for guilt, supplanting the traditional trial. And then finally, he makes sure we all know his decision to dismiss the charges with the plea deal was an act of mercy. You know, one of the things you all do is pray before the meetings, and I like it. I like it. It's traditional. It makes me feel good and grounded. And it reminds me of one of my favorite Bible verses, which is Matthew 25:40. The king will reply, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did for the least of my brothers and sisters, you did for me." The police have power and weapons, authority, state support. They can act with zero concern of facing accountability. Joshua, on the other hand, he had his beloved service dog. The only thing connecting him after he was broken in service of our country overseas. He fought these demons and Sunshine helped. Jesus speaks about judgment that we all face, telling his disciples that whatever they held bound on earth, so shall it be in heaven. In this case, there was no judgment except Travis Page making a mockery of the word accountability. As the last speaker mentioned, Officer Taylor was subject to, and I want to make sure I'm reading that, oversight by his dad.
One reason I'm here again to support my friend is it's just not about Joshua. It's about this country, an example we set for our children. And if you just go back and read Travis Page's words, you know, no crime was committed except by Joshua, who was standing there creating, you know, making people happy. But for some reason, those two officers just couldn't leave him alone. And the saddest part is, Officer Taylor, he claims to be a veteran. And 4 days prior to the arrest, it's on tape. Joshua explained it. He cannot function in society without his service dog. But yet 4 days later, you could tell, come on, you watch that tape. He knew the only way he could hurt this man was to separate his dog. It's obvious. But, but he's wearing a badge and carrying a gun, so he should be held to a higher standard than anybody else. So what kind of country do we have when we pray and we take pictures of how proud we are as a city, but yet we trample on the rights of a man that went overseas and served his country? I'm sorry, your prayer will not cover your sin of providing cover for tyrants who abuse service animals. That's a federal crime. And God, I hope I live long enough to see you pay for it. Every one of you. You ought to be ashamed.
I'm sorry that I'm here again. And before I get into that, I wanted to ask Mayor Reed, but he's not here. But Mr. Smith, as the city attorney, I'll direct it to you if possible. I have never threatened, harassed, or assaulted anybody online, verbally, physically, anywhere. I have been a resident of Gaston County and someone who spends tens of thousands of dollars in the city of Gastonia every single year for almost 2 decades. There is absolutely no reason that Mayor Reed should be violating my First Amendment rights by blocking me on either of his pages that he uses to facilitate city business, yet that has happened. Please respect the First Amendment and make sure that Mayor Reed unblocks me, because just because he doesn't like what I have to say, too bad. Too bad. I pay taxes in this city, and he is violating my rights. I don't want the residents of Gastonia to deal with a lawsuit if I have to sue you, but thankfully, there's a lot of precedent in some firms that would love to take city money. I'd rather you save that from the taxpayers and don't make me sue you to protect my First Amendment rights. I don't threaten anybody. I don't harass anybody. Have the mayor unblock me, first off. Second, here we are, 7 times gathering and speaking before you. The call has always been simple: an independent investigation. You saw what happened. You could have had an opportunity to rise above this with national media attention. I don't even want to talk about the other issues here at the county level. We have teachers who aren't being paid. There's a lot of negativity that could be here. You have an opportunity to turn that around and bring about real change. Robert, I saw your post today with Travis Britton retiring. I am glad that you put out a call for one thing, and that is to not only look internally. Keep your search nationwide. Be optimistic. And please think about this. The national attention may be negative. You have an opportunity as leaders as well as city employees. I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not a snitch. I've had 3 GPD officers reach out to me and saw that they are not happy with what was seen on that video. Nobody is. Lead. You have an opportunity to make Gastonia a shining star of doing something right for the citizens, standing up for the rights of people. Scotty Reed was arrested for standing on a sidewalk. My First Amendment rights violated. Show that you care about the Constitution. You stand up here and pledge allegiance to the flag. The Constitution is a founding document. Show that it matters. And for God's sake, please, I don't know how many times we can ask this. Call in the SBI. This man deserves real justice. A lawsuit's gonna come. Y'all could have prevented it. The actions of the PD harassing private citizens. I don't even know what this lawsuit's gonna look like when it comes. You could have prevented all of this. Rein it in. Govern. Lead. Please.
I really don't know what to say anymore. We've been coming here for 7 months, calling for accountability and for justice and compassion, and y'all haven't done a thing. You haven't even put us on the agenda. We've asked to be on the agenda, and all we can do is speak at public expression with no comments from y'all. And we're not going to stop. We're going to come here until we get justice, in case you haven't noticed. We will not stop, and it's only getting bigger, and more people are being aware of what y'all did and what y'all are continuing to do by covering this up. Every single one of y'all, and I mean, this is a public expression, and the city attorney doesn't even bother to look up half the time. It's very disrespectful. And what Mike Ross said here, Mayor Reed continues to block numerous people. He blocked me right at the beginning of all this when I called him out on his Facebook page. He blocked me from his personal page, which he uses for his, whatever that's called. And he also blocked me on his Mayor Reed page because I tried to express my First Amendment right and ask him to come to action to try and help me get justice. And he hasn't. I'm just at a loss for words. I really don't know what to say anymore because everybody's already said it a million times over. But, I'm struggling. This has been the worst time of my life. And thank God that I have all these supporters here for me and everybody in my corner to help me get through this, because otherwise they took what helped me get through that, which was sunshine. This is all I have left of sunshine right here is her ashes. And I just can't believe that Travis Page wrote that statement that he wrote saying that it was his opinion. Well, it's the majority of the nation's opinion that I was violated, my rights were violated, and I was wrongly arrested, and Sunshine was tased for no reason. It's all on the body cam footage. And y'all refuse to do anything about it. But that's okay, because there are higher powers involved.
Amen.
Higher than y'all. And guess what? If y'all don't do something about it, we're going to make sure that you're voted out of office.
South Carolina, I too am one of those shady outsiders from the despicable, faraway outsider land of South Carolina. What a summer, huh, guys? Last time I was here, we talked about the fact that the body cam footage needed to be released, that it would eventually be released, and that I would keep coming back. We would keep coming back. either to thank you for joining us in calling for justice or to continue to push you to call for justice. Well, now I'm back. And what's happened since then? Well, related to this case, Joshua's body cam footage was released due to no help from Travis Page, the DA, who fought valiantly one last time for his valiant effort in his noble crusade to keep the public from seeing body cam footage that they paid for with their tax dollars. Thankfully, the judge apparently angrily threw that out and had the body cam footage released. And now everyone can see for themselves by going to Joshua's YouTube channel or to my YouTube channel, or you could just go on YouTube and type in Gastonia Police Joshua. And at this point, there are hundreds of channels that are covering it because this has become an international concern. People all across the country and across the world are talking about it. And you can see for yourself that absurd press release, that statement from, oddly enough, the man who fought to block the body cam footage, oddly also thought that there was nothing bad in it. And that the only thing it showed was that Joshua was in the wrong. But you can actually, if you haven't already seen it, you can watch it for yourselves. And everyone else here can watch it for yourselves. And everyone watching this, you can watch it for yourselves. You can see that Travis Page was wrong, that Joshua was not committing crimes, and that he was complying with the police. You can see that he was wrong, that the police did wrongfully arrest him and did assault him. You can see that he was wrong, that Sunshine clearly did not bite anyone or even come close enough to anyone to bite anyone, and that Officer Maurice Taylor III was lying about that, as was Officer Sierra Brooks. You can later see, with your own eyes, that they lied to their responding supervisors about it and claimed that, oh, well, he, Sunshine, bit my boot. And you can see in the footage that there is no bite on the boot because she never bit his boot. You can see that other officers responded to the eyewitnesses who were saying that what they saw and that the officers were lying by threatening to arrest them and telling them to go away instead of taking their statements. You can see that at every single step, the people in positions of authority lied, abused their power, and hurt people and animals. Now, I know your hands are somewhat tied in what you can do, but there are some things you can do here. You can join us publicly in calling for DA Page to officially request an investigation. You can call for justice. And one last thing. Davison v. Randall is the case that Mike Ross and others can use to sue Mayor Reed and the city for blocking them on social media. There are multiple federal case laws showing that you cannot violate people's First Amendment rights. The last thing, the police have been harassing people. Gastonia police are harassing people on their personal social media, attacking them in their own comments on their social media. I don't know who gave you guys the foolish advice to help our cause by attacking people on their social media, but keep it up. It's making everything easier for us.